Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bourbon Note. I'm Greg.
I'm Ben.
And today, we're drinking bourbon. All right, Ben. I have no idea what this bottle is. It looks interesting.
Well, let's show the people what it is. It is BAM. This is Members Mark Kentucky Small Batch Bourbon Whiskey. Okay, so not to be confused with Maker's Mark, this is Members Mark.
Oh boy, I'm gonna mess that up.
Yeah, and so this is actually the Sam's Club brand bourbon.
Okay.
So they came out with this.
So we don't think they actually bought distilling equipment.
No, what they did is they got this from Barton 1792, which we're pretty big fans of.
So Costco did that game a couple years ago, and so they're looking over the fence saying, hey.
Yeah, exactly. And so maybe this is Sam's Club's answer to Costco's bourbon. So
exactly.
90 proof, doesn't say anything about an age. It is straight bourbon, so.
They tend to be a really good price, and 1792 is an exceptional distillery if you like.
Yeah, we really like their stuff. Mm-hmm. This bottle was $19, so it's budget friendly. So I got to imagine it's, I don't think it's gonna be disappointing for $19. So far on the nose, it isn't. Bit nutty.
Yeah, peanut butter.
Peanut buttery, yeah, for sure.
No ethanol. Yeah, I'm not getting a lot besides
the nuttiness is kind of the prominent
peanut shell, but I don't.
Yeah, peanut shell a little bit. Yep.
But it's not like it. It smells like more like peanut shell than peanut butter. And so I'm not actually I'm not anticipating it tastes like peanut butter.
Well, let's find out and let's get into it. Cheers.
That's more big red gum than I thought it would.
Huh. Could be power of suggestion, but I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I would say
it's a nice burn.
It's not a strong big red gum note, but there is some of that kind of cinnamon on the back end of it.
Yeah.
Other than that, it comes across as a fairly down the middle. I feel like it drinks a little lower than 90 proof, at least on that first sip.
Getting a fair amount of spice, but admittedly, this is the first sip of bourbon today. But it's like almost like wood spice. Like it's interesting. Like there's certain elements of this that are really interesting, but some of the flavor falls a little flat. It's just a basic 90 proof bourbon.
Yes, I would agree with you on that.
Yeah.
The second sip was definitely a little bit more flavorful. Same for me, first sip of bourbon of the day. But overall, like flavor-wise, this is just kind of a nice right down the middle, and for $19, you can do a hell of a lot worse.
Definitely.
So, I mean, we recently reviewed that bottle of chicken cock, and that's also 90 proof. But that one sells for like $65, and this one drinks, in my opinion, better than that, for sure. What you? Are you just trying to figure out which avenue to go here?
I was gonna make a joke, but
let's just move right along.
The censors wouldn't have allowed it, so
we were mature enough to get through that review. So you know.
Yep.
But this one, I don't know. We've had a lot of products from 1792 because they seem to be working with a lot of different companies. You mentioned that they did the one for Costco, now this one. There's been a handful of other brands that 1792 seems to
do a fair amount of sourcing.
Yeah, sourcing or contract distilling, whatever it is.
Yep.
So I think we should bring in the closest thing we probably have to this, or certainly the closest thing we have. Closest thing I could think of that's actually, BAM, a 1792 product. This is small batch. I want to bring this in because this bottle's on its way out.
Just for Ben, they're still selling it.
Yeah. Although, weirdly enough, we were just talking before we started this, that in some areas, apparently 1792 small batch is becoming like allocated. And even some stores around here have had a hard time getting it, which is weird. I bought that one the same day at Sam's Club. I paid $26 for it. Usually around that $32 range, but that's one of the best sub-100 proof bourbons, like budget-friendly bourbons out there, in my opinion. So anyway, the 1792 small batch is 93.7 proof. So we got a little bit extra proof on there, which is going to give it a bit of an advantage. But just to kind of compare the two and see, if they're in the same ballpark, because truth be told, as much as we like 1792, we have had a couple from them that just kind of, I don't know. I've had a couple of their products that kind of leaned a little into like a bug spray vibe.
I don't know if I
can't
get
remember which ones they were, but
I know I get like not explosional flavor. Like they're good, but nothing amazing out of them.
Some of the source stuff.
Even
jeez, I way over poured. I didn't mean to do that.
bathtub bourbon.
Yeah.
I mean, their full proof one is amazing.
Yes.
But some of the lower proof ones are hit and miss for me. So
this one I think is incredible, especially for the price.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to get the Sam's Club one.
Sam's Club one more
another
time.
sip of this.
Members Mark. Okay.
Yeah, it's down the middle. Mm-hmm. I think maybe, I don't know the age on this, but I think maybe the proof down, maybe it's not aged terribly, maybe like a 5-year or something, and maybe that's kind of helping keep some of those flavors down, whereas this was aged a little bit longer. The 90 proof might show through a little bit more.
Yep.
Just a theory.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the small batch here.
Okay. Much richer on the nose.
Yeah. Similar notes, though.
Yeah.
You can definitely, if you go back and forth, you can tell these are in the same ballpark. A little more cinnamon on the small batch.
Yeah, surprising. And I don't remember cinnamon being prominent from 1792 before. Maybe it just works for me today.
Well, I've been working on this bottle since I got it. This has just kind of been my go-to.
Sure.
So I'm very familiar with it right now.
Well, I'm
Cheers.
going for it. A lot more density.
Yeah, this one, gosh, I'm getting a little bit of bubble gum off of this too. Pink like bubble tape. Not so much cinnamon on the palate today.
I'm getting a fair amount of cinnamon. But
are you? Yeah,
also, the pink bubblegum kind of note. Maybe a tad bit of, say citrus, but it's light. Lemony.
Yeah.
Lemony?
Like some sort of like a citrus rind, maybe like lemon zest or something. Okay.
But overall, that's just a much more interesting bourbon, I think.
It is. I think this one just has its place as a $19 bourbon. For $19, I'm not mad at this at all.
Well, so here's what I would say, and I feel like over the past year, we've kind of had a ton of really good bourbon, and probably our average proof has really moved up.
Yes.
And so it's hard for us maybe to appreciate this.
But I think it is when you get one of these that's sub 100 proof that is really good.
Well, sure.
It really stands out even more. So it can either not stand out because of that or stand out even more because you can be like, oh, wow, this is great at the proof. I think this bourbon is, the quality of it is every bit worth $19. 100%.
Yeah, right. If that's what you're looking for, is a lower proof, lower age.
Yeah, but I think that this drinks better than like a Jim Beam White Label.
Yep.
Which is maybe a little bit cheaper than that, but it's a budget-friendly bourbon, but I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I'm certainly not going to hesitate to have that as just a 90 proof pour on the porch some night or something like that.
Sure.
Definitely not quite as good as the 1792 small batch, but if you like this flavor profile and you're looking for something budget, this would work great in a cocktail, Yeah,
absolutely.
All right. That's the review and the comparison. We're going to have to do the blend, but I screwed this up because I way over poured on the one. So I'm going to try to get equal parts here.
Well, it's just going to be a 50-50-50.
Yeah.
So you're just blending
Well, we want to do
bourbons.
50-50, to give it the actual even blend. It smells just like both of these.
I actually anticipate, it should be at least 8 years, right? And 180 proof. Mm-hmm. And, if they can't get this right, then they don't know what they're doing.
Blend is actually pretty good. Compare that to the regular Sam's Club stuff.
It helps it. It helps this for sure. It brings
Yeah.
a little bit more of the caramel kind of notes. Still prominent cinnamon, which still shocks me. I don't remember that as a note from.
Yeah, I wasn't getting the cinnamon as much on this today, but now I am in the blend. You know what it is about this one? It's just a little bit smooth. Mm-hmm. And that's not a bad thing for a lot of bourbon drinkers.
I think for a lot of people, that's exactly what they're looking for.
Yeah.
It's not my style of preference, and so it doesn't
Yeah.
work for me. But I mean, it's fine.
Yeah, I think this is just fine. The blend is just fine. It's a little more bold, and this is really good for if you can get around $30 for a sub 100 daily sipper.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with that.
Yep.
All right, well, this has been Members Mark Kentucky Straight Small Batch Bourbon Whiskey with a little guest appearance by Barton 1792 Small Batch. On the Bourbon Note, I'm Ben.
I'm Greg. Until next time. See you next time.